with a drip, drip, mind too tight. Go talk some top, look, grew up rich, I grew up poor. Had to hustle, be mature. That's my point of view. That's my point of view.
Sanibonani emakhaya, meaning Nkosazana yasekazi Gigi Lemaine, and welcome to yet another episode of POV where we set your record straight. Guys, I am super excited today because out of all the episodes, I think this is the one that I've been looking forward to the most. This is currently one of the most talked about men on the continent, people on the continent. He's been doing amazing things, in evangelism. He's taken social media by storm. Some of our platforms, I definitely know about him and his work and returning back to Christ. So I'm really excited. I've struggled with kind of trying to find out how I should be addressing you. I don't know if it's man of God, Papa, Pastor, and he simply said Jay. So Jay Israel, I'm really excited to see you, to meet you finally. My mom is extremely jealous of this interview. And of course it's an exclusive that, we haven't, received, I think. Everyone just sees you on your channel. So thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Gigi. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Let's get
Thank you
straight
so
into it.
Okay.
You scare me a lot, but I think behind every bizarre, strange, will I even believe this? A lot of people, always feel like there was a beginning, right?
Yeah.
And I know that. You've mentioned how you're from Zim.
Yeah.
My mommy's from Zim as well. I'm first generation South African, so shout out to you, homeboy. But I mean, what was it like growing up? I mean, childhood, siblings, parents, just like the home structure. How was that?
Thank you once again. Thank you so much. I'll try by all means to stay put. I'll try to put myself together as much as I can, Let me start by saying I always prefer being addressed by my name, and I don't like titles because titles always come with pressure to perform, Once you get to a place and you say your name is Prophet so-and-so, people expect you to prophesy, you know what I mean? So when you call me brother, you strip me off the pressure, and you also help me to manage my pride as well, Yeah. Titles always bring an element of pride. Conversation for another day. So I am Jay Israel, from Zimbabwe, born and bred in Zimbabwe, Bulawayo. Very much of a township guy, Kasi guy, I'm Ndebele and Shona, so Ndebele and Zulu, it sounds almost the same. Yeah. So growing up, I grew up a very simple child. Went to primary school, although I did not get to finish school. But I come from a Christian background. My mom is a prophetess. Yes.
Okay.
My mom has the gift of seeing visions and all that. So we kind of grew up in that environment, where we used to be forced to go to church. At times I wouldn't want to go to church, and I'll put up all the tantrums and everything, but eventually they'll pull me to church, So that's pretty much, home. Got about 5 siblings. One is late, and I'm the last born, mama's boy.
Hey, I'm also the last born. High
Oh,
five.
great.
Last born's all white. Shout out.
Yeah, so mama's boy, I don't know. That's just...
It's a lot. Is dad in the picture?
My dad passed away
okay.
2020 during lockdown. During lockdown, yes.
Was it COVID?
Yeah, it was COVID.
Oh, condolences.
It was COVID, yeah.
Hectic.
Yeah, I mean, it's our way of life. We're all going there at some point.
Oh no, don't say that. That's really scary. And then school. Like, what kind of child were you? Like, I know I was. I think I was teacher's pet. But I really enjoyed being the all-rounder. I played for the netball team, but I still loved the books. I was in the choir until she kicked me out. Weird now that I'm a musician. Must be a weird chat for her. But I mean, what kind of student were you?
I was a very brilliant student, I should say. Yeah, I didn't need any books to pass. Yes, I've always had this natural intelligence, you know. Yeah, I was one of those kids where I would spend most of the time playing and, you know, playing games, going for soccer, cricket and all that. And then at the end of the term, I always come out with flying colors. So, yeah, it's probably a gift I used to have. Most of favorite subject.
When you look like an English scholar, I don't know. Some of the words you use in your, and guys, please go and follow him. Jay Israel's got like one of the best YouTube podcasts when it comes to spirituality, and coming back to the heart of worship. But like, what was your favorite subject?
Favorite subject, English.
Obviously, I can pick that up. Some of the words you use, I'm just like, this is not just any random scholar.
Yeah, English, history.
History, I see it.
English, history, and the other subject, I would say that it's something that I have been teaching myself, something that they don't normally teach people in school.
Yeah.
You know, that's something that I'll talk about as we go, but those were my two basic subjects. Yeah.
Sports, no?
I used to play soccer.
Soccer.
Yes.
Okay, I see that
used to
too.
play soccer. I was the best, actually. Yes.
What position?
Number 9.
He's a striker, number nine. Now we need to investigate spiritually what that means. Maybe it'll allude to the next part of the story. And I mean, what were the opportunities like? Like, did you grow up knowing this was going to be your path? I mean, in terms of, your profession, did you ever think you were going to almost become like this light to people? Or, were you like me? I wanted to be a nursing sister like my mom.
I wanted to be a pilot.
Okay, but I guess you're flying people like in a okay, but yeah, okay. Why did you want to be a pilot? That's like,
I don't know. I think at the time, being young is probably one of the things that every kid wanted to be. So,
I agree.
yeah.
I agree. And then,
I wanted to be a pilot, and then at some point I wanted to be a doctor.
Okay.
Yeah, but unfortunately I did not even get to finish school.
All right.
Yeah, so I did grade 7, I passed. Then I went to Form 1. That's like your grade 8 year. Yeah. I did my Form 1. Before I even finished the Form 1, I dropped out. Yes,
Why?
I dropped out because of financial issues, financial problems, marital issues between my parents, so I dropped out from school. We went to look for jobs and all that. I had a bit of a rough past, a rough upbringing, which I also would love to believe that it played a huge role in whom I have become today,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, coming from a rough past like that, there are so many decisions that you tend to make in life, like joining the cult. I didn't join the cult because I wanted to. I joined the cult because I needed to.
I love how he just went there.
Yes,
He's ready, guys. He is ready.
emphasis,
The
yeah.
emphasis. Because honestly, we do become a product of our circumstances. That's what I believe. And like we say with POV, we're seeking to understand and not to judge. And I love this space because that's exactly, what it is. At what point were you called? Because let's say, I know we're about to get into the cult, but surely there should have been a point where you're like, okay, guys, God is now knocking at my door,
Okay.
right? Because there is a lot of authenticity in the J Israel before and now. I could be wrong, but at what point did you realize that you were called?
Authenticity is what you decide to give. Authenticity can be a picture that you give, but it doesn't mean that the picture is always right. You see? Yeah, but let me start off by talking about maybe growing up Christian child. I used to have the gift. I've always had the gift. Many people think being called by God is something that happens in the middle of the night. You hear this big voice and it comes, oh, my son, I'm here to call you. That's not how it is. The Bible says, Jeremiah, before I formed you in your mother's womb, I already knew you. I already anointed you, appointed you, and ordained you a prophet over the nations. So you are not called. There is no particular day of being called. You are called from birth. So I would love to believe that growing up from the, as a young boy, I used to have dreams. Even at school, at times, there were times when I would say some very confusing things to my teachers, and they used to question a lot, to a point where so many kids were actually afraid of playing with me because they thought I was a witch.
What kind of things are these? I'm also worried now.
My mom used to be in the white garment sect.
Okay.
Yeah, under the Christian dome, there is the white garment sect.
Okay.
Those ones who wear white garments.
Yes, okay.
So she used to be a prophetess there. So there were these prophetic directions that my mom used to do in the bush.
Okay.
Yeah, whereby if the man is cheating or if the woman is doing something, my mom will take your name, go to the bush, put it under the rock. I put a rock on top with an egg and needles and stuff like that.
Don't ask me how I know.
So I used to go, to all these places together with her, So I used to see all those things. Then I'll go and do them myself. So if I go to school and my teacher gives me a whooping, I'll definitely take a name and go do the same things that my mom used to do. And I'll go to school
Harry Potter.
and say to them, you will not come to school tomorrow.
But teacher came, right?
Well,
Teacher went to school.
I mean, they always came. They always came.
That is the realest thing, because I remember actually wanting to have superpowers at school. I really, really wanted to have superpowers, especially when I was in trouble for something. And I mean, I think you're right when you say everybody's been called, because I remember points when I was in high school, not in high school, in boarding school, and I had to leave boarding school because I thought I was seeing all these different things, and and then I grew to understand that I think a spiritual eye resides in everyone, but I do believe that you were elevated probably because of mom, but like you said, probably because you were called. So now, in receiving this calling, how are you? Surely you're saying to yourself, eventually I'll make it. You're reading all these scriptures, the book of Job, and everything else. How are you then deciding that it's for me to really pop? In our world we say pop. For me to really take off, right? Okay. I'm going to join this cult. What pushed you there now?
I believe for every fake there's genuine. For there can never be fake without genuine, because for every counterfeit there's something original. So as I was saying, being called is something that I've always been from a young age. Before I actually gave my life to Christ, when I dropped out from school, there were so many things that we started doing that were not right, okay? But we're not going to talk about that for now. Yes. I found myself in Botswana at some point, at a very young age, working in the construction, I remember that. Yes, yeah. So did a whole lot of things up until I went back home, and then they attempted to take me back to school, but then it didn't work out. So then I gave my life to Christ. When I gave my life to Christ, I started serving in the church. I served as an usher, and then from ushering, I joined the praise and worship team because I love to sing, although I've got a terrible voice, but I can put together words, and you can, with the melody, you can listen to something. So
I heard you sing. You're not as bad as you think, but okay.
Yeah, well,
yeah. All right.
So, joined the praise and worship team. From the praise and worship team, became the leader. Then from there, I became an assistant pastor. From assistant pastor, I was ordained to be a pastor. Okay. Yes. So after I was ordained, as a young, they call them the young lions in the Christian dome. They call them the young lions. You see, when you are a young lion, you just want to explode. You just want, you just want to be the next biggest thing, you know? You just want to be the next TD Jakes. You understand? You just, this is what you dream of. This is what you see when you're sleeping. When you're eating, this is what you see. Do you understand? So they call it zeal without knowledge. It's actually suicide. So much zeal that we have as young preachers, and we don't have knowledge. Yet we don't understand that knowledge is power. And you need knowledge for you to be something that you have to be tomorrow. So much zeal, pushed by all this energy, we want to be. Then meeting a whole lot of different people as well along the way, so there are pastors that we used to see on TV, like your...
I was going to ask you, who do you look up to? Actually,
who do I look up to?
No, who did you look up to at that time? Like you're saying, when you're saying you're watching TV, right?
Exactly.
It has to have been that guy, that one in Nigeria, that one.
At that time, we had so many of them on TV. Yeah, we had so many of them on TV.
At this time,
Bushiri was not in the picture at the time.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah,
at the time, I remember there was Hubert Angel from Zimbabwe.
I know Hubert Angel.
Yes, there was Hubert Angel from Zimbabwe. There was Pastor Chris.
Pastor Chris.
Yeah, these were your big televangelists that we used to watch on TV and all that. So,
TB Joshua.
TD
Jakes.
TB Joshua, TD Jakes. But because we come from Africa, we always want power.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, even the Bible says the gospel is not only in word, the kingdom is not only in word, but it is also in the demonstration of God's power. So as young lions, we always wanted to demonstrate that power. We always wanted to demonstrate something. When I lift my hands, people must fall down. You see? When I tell you to sit down, you must sit down without questioning my authority. You see, that's the kind of power that we needed as young lions. So I remember there was a prophet who came from Ghana. I'll never forget that guy. His name is Prophet Frank. He came all the way from Ghana. Frank? You've heard of him? Okay.
Because of you. I went to go check him out on Facebook. Okay. He's not on Instagram, guys.
He's not.
No, he's on Facebook.
This guy came to Blawayo.
Yeah.
Invited, very dark-looking guy, invited by one of the pastors at the time. That was the first time I saw someone calling out somebody's name, surname, phone number, details about people who died and everything. I was perplexed. I was like, wow, this is amazing, This is great. How does he do this, These are things that we used to hear about. These are things we used to watch on TV back in the days. These are things we used to see being done on TV. It had never happened in front of my eyes. So this guy looks at me as he's walking past. He taps me on my shoulder. Then he says, "You're going to be a great man." Before I knew it, I was on the floor.
This is for real now.
This is for real.
You're not part of the...
No. I'm not yet part of the cult.
Okay.
I've not joined anything yet. This is real. This is happening at the time. You see, you're going to be a great man and everything. So, to cut the long story short, I started following this man. I started moving with him, Frank. I started moving with Frank. He taught me how to prophesy. He nurtured the gift, the genuine gift that I've always heard. He nurtured it. He groomed that gift, And in him building the gift, I started a church in Zimbabwe at the age of 18.
Wow.
Yes.
Hectic.
Yeah. 18 years old, I started my first church in Zimbabwe, and I was the youngest forensic prophet in the city.
When you say forensic, what does that mean?
Forensic is, you see, when you prophesy details, when you go into, forensic, when you've got a tattoo on your back, you did it on so day, you ate this morning, you understand? That's forensic, So, 18 years old, started the church. It's okay. 18 years old, started the church. Then a year or two, probably a year down the line, I met this guy on Facebook. He invited me on Facebook. We started talking. We became friends. And then that was how I got to know about the cult.
That's why I brought him here. Listen, the cults. I'm so glad because I don't think you've mentioned it in so much detail on your. I mean, I've watched everything of yours. So now you are introduced to this cult on Facebook. Yes, guys, where all the scamming is happening. Send 200,000 rand. You can be part of the Illuminati. You're going to actually pop at some point.
Let me actually say
He
something on
actually,
that one.
yes.
You see what people think is Illuminati,
Yes.
what people think is the Freemasons and all that. It's not what people think it is. Illuminati was started by a group of philosophers.
Yes.
These were, a group of weak people who wanted to assume a position of power. And then they called themselves the illuminated ones. The ones who have been enlightened.
Yes.
The ones who carry the truth.
Yeah.
So these were accountants, these were bankers, these were people who were controlling the economy at the time,
Okay.
who decided to come together and form this thing called Illuminati. They put up a picture of evil, but when you dig deep into it, you realize that these are just people who are cowards, who are hiding behind a banner that represents some form of spiritual power and strength. Same with the Freemasons. It is just a group of people who are governed by principles and rules. Nothing superstitious. But that's a conversation for another day. Yeah.
And it's not demonic?
They make it, you can make anything look
It could just be
demonic if you want.
another burial society, you know what I'm saying? It could be just...
Everything can be demonic.
Yeah.
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 If I want, I can turn my cell phone to be demonic. Anything can be demonic.
Shout outs. That's true. That's true. Let's go back to your Facebook. We are here for the Facebook. Okay, so this person becomes your friend.
Right.
So initially you're talking about the sun and the weather and sports and whatever, and then eventually you get to this conversation, or is it a, hey, I can do this?
You see, in church, Facebook is actually one of the strongest tool that we have in the church.
Okay.
So I've met so many people on Facebook.
All right.
Yeah. And I've got close to 500,000 followers on Facebook.
I've seen, yes, I've seen.
These are people I don't know, but these are people who subscribe to my channel. It goes beyond just Facebook. I have Zoom meetings with these people. Some have flown from different countries just to come and see me. So it goes beyond just Facebook.
I flew here to come see you.
Yeah, you flew in
really
just to
gonna
come
see
and
you.
see me. So
Right, shout out.
yeah. So
That's how this person reaches out, right?
that's how people talk these days.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then this person says to you, listen, I've got the plug to make you very powerful. Are you with it or no?
When I started talking to this person, it was just a friendly conversation. I realized he's also a pastor, leading a church. Yeah. Also a pastor leading a church in his country, in Ghana, doing his things. Then we started talking. One conversation led to the other. So how do you do your things? I saw some of his videos where he was prophesying, calling out names, calling out details and stuff. Then I said, how do you do that? Then he said, no, I can hook you up. Just like that.
So even me, if I was there, I could have I can make you Beyonce.
Many of your South African artists are part of the cult.
Your cult? Well, the one you used to belong to, or is it there different ones?
You see, when it comes to the cult, there are so many different cults. Yeah. But they all operate by the same demonic power. Yes. If I want to start my own cult, I can start my own cult. The only thing that I need is to have a following, that's all. So there are people who are part of the cult unknowingly, and there are people who are part of the cult knowingly. So if you follow me and I'm in the cult, there are certain codes that I throw in the atmosphere
And then people know.
just to confuse you. You'll be thinking that these are just things that I'm doing because I'm a superstar, or I'm this big pastor, or this big prophet, or this big artist, or whatever. But at that point, it goes beyond just the, let's say, the signs or the utterances that I'm making. It goes way beyond that. At that point, I'm probably invoking demons, invoking spirits, but you don't know, you see. So you become a victim of the spiritual world that I am in, simply because you are following me without knowing that I'm part of something that you don't know. Do you understand?
Hectic. Right. So then you decide you're going to embark on this journey. You do say yes. You know, and I look at it as, you know, I'm not making excuses for anything. And, you know, the reformed you, but you're now a victim of, you know, circumstance. You've been through a lot. You also, you know, want to get your flowers, your glory, but there's still this part of you that still wants to help people, even if it means going the shorter route, right? And you go to Ghana. You decide to go to Ghana. How old were you?
I was 19.
19. So this is a year after starting.
This is a year after I started my church.
And at that time, how many people are in the church?
Plus minus 150, 200.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good. I know somebody was telling me they go to a church where there's like 8 people, which is still fine. It's a place of worship. And then you meet this person, and this person really exists. Yeah. And you go to Ghana. Yeah. And there's a whole bus ride.
So
you'll be surprised at how much I know about the story, because
I'm actually surprised because you are.
I'm ahead.
You are way ahead of what I thought, you know.
Yeah. So you're on this bus ride. You get to this village. There are people running around, children, whatever, and the initiation process starts. Please, paint a picture for anyone who's not watched, your channel. Paint a picture of what that is when you now get to this place.
This world that we live in is controlled somewhere else. We are all existing in this world, but we don't control this world. This world is controlled by an entire system that we don't see. The spiritual world is the one that controls this physical world. There are entities in the spiritual realms that are in charge of everything that you see happening in this world. There are demons who are in charge of accidents. There are demons who are in charge of sicknesses. There are demons who are in charge of different calamities that befall humanity. When I arrived in Ghana, actually it's not Ghana, I arrived in Ghana. We took a taxi from Ghana. We crossed from Ghana to Togo. And then from Togo, we crossed into a country called Benin. In Benin, we took a drive to a place called Cotonou. Cotonou, we drove into a village. The village that we drove into, we went deep into it. Upon arrival at this village, there were so many kids that I saw there. Most of these kids were very young. A lot of them, they were just playing around. So I asked my friend, the guy who took me there. He was a regular at the time, so he knew everything. So I asked him, all these kids here, what are they doing? What's going on in this place? And then he said to me, all the children that you see here are the children that are used for sacrifice. There are people who go there looking for blood money. Blood money exists. Blood rituals exist. There are people who go there, they don't have any family members to kill, or they have killed already all their family members.
Okay, I don't mean to laugh, but okay. Okay.
Or they have killed already all of their family members. Okay. You see? So there's nobody else left to kill. So when they go there, they buy these children. So these are children that are actually kidnapped they're trafficked. Kidnapped, trafficked from different places, and then they go sell them to that place. You see? So when you go there, you just pick a child, you say, I want this, and then they kill the baby. The most important thing is the blood. You see. So you see somebody just blowing up from nowhere and you don't understand, how did this person make it? There is something that they are stepping on. There's something that they are standing on, which is invisible to the world, but it is only visible to him.
Crazy, my producer always.
So when I arrived there, seeing all what was happening and everything, I used to think this was just African movie stuff
Yeah, of course.
until I had a one-on-one encounter.
And that's strike.
Yes. So this old man comes out. We met him. Okay, we are introduced. This is so and so. We told the names and everything. A very old man, standing together with one of the boys. The very, very old guy. Introduces. He doesn't speak English. He speaks their Benin language. Then the boy is the one to always interpret.
Okay.
So we go in. We sit there. Then we are asked, "What do you want?" So I told them, I want power. I want command. I want crowds. I want power. I want crowds. I want money. I want fame. I want everything that I can get just to boost my church. Because
Power, respect.
yeah, money, power, respect. That's what everyone
Rick
wants.
Ross. Is this something we're reading? Yeah, money, power, respect. That's exactly what it is. Okay. And then he says,
I'll tell you why.
yeah.
Everybody in this world is looking for the same thing. We just don't know what we are looking for until we die. Everybody in this world is looking for money. Everybody is looking for power. Everybody is looking for respect. And everybody is willing to get all these things at any cost, given an opportunity. That is why you must never judge an armed robber when you see them robbing the bank until you know what is behind their story. But anyway, arriving at this place, I saw a lot of things. I saw a lot of things that I saw there. The old man comes, we talk. Okay, so what do you want? This is what I want. I began to explain. Then they said, okay, the first thing that we are going to do, we are going to give you protection. We are going to give you protection. It's the most important thing before everything else. This is to safeguard you from whatever spirit that might come and attack you, since you are now going to be part of this. And then they also said, before going into the details of a lot of things, the first thing that you have to do is to denounce God. And you now have to worship and be introduced to another God. And the name of that God is
Adobe. You see, I'm such a groupie.
Wow.
I know the name of the new God.
Yes.
All right.
So that is the name of the God.
All right.
Yeah. So, yeah. I got the protection. It came through being cut. My body was cut.
Okay.
Yes, all around the front here, at the back, on my arms. You know, they use a razor just to put 3 lines, incisions.
Okay, so in Zulu culture we call that like
Yes.
and then there's
Then there is muti
inserted.
that they put. Yeah.
Okay, so this is done everywhere.
Yeah, so it's done everywhere. So that was the first procedure that they did.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
And also that was to make sure that there are people whose spirits will never allow them to carry some of these things. Do you understand? Like there are people who come from royalty families. If you are from a royalty family, you have your own spiritual stuff that you are, yes, spiritual things and spiritual people. You have your traditional healers, your sangomas, your nyangas, you know, that are assigned to your family. Do you understand? So if you go somewhere else and you do something else, it does not agree with what you already carry. So they have to make sure that they check first. Because if you just go and do it before them checking to see if you're going to be able to carry this thing, you can go mad or you can die. You see? You'll be going there to get power, but you end up getting mad or you end up dying Because when it comes to spiritual power, many people, you see, many people don't understand power. Power comes with sacrifice. Power is all about sacrifice. Power is all about commitment. Power is all about loyalty. Something that you don't find among so many Christians today. You see, Christians don't value even their own God that they claim to pray to. They don't value him, but they still want him to bless them. In these places, when you go for power, it is easy to get whatever you want because it is all about principles. If they say kill your mother, you can't kill your aunt. You see.
If they say kill your mother, you
If they say kill your mother, you cannot kill your aunt. You kill your mother. Yes. If they say bring blood, you can't bring juice. It's blood. Do you understand? So they took me through the protection phase, and then from there I went to the other side. I've said most of the stuff on my broadcast.
Please
So
guys go and follow.
because of time and everything, I'm just going to sum it up. So we went to the other side, and then they did some rituals where they cut some chickens, live chickens. They were cut on top of my head, and then the blood was smeared all over my body. Blood smeared all over my body, and then they said some words, everything. Then they gave me some stuff to wash. As this was happening, I was naked. And then from there, the last ritual that we did for that particular visit, we now went into the room where there was these gods. This room had different kind of gods. And these gods were like, I don't know how to describe it, but it looked like you know those sculptors,
Yes.
yeah, the what do you call them?
Yes, those
Sculptors, yeah, the sculptors, right? The African sculptures of people's faces. You know, you can see somebody's face, a big face like that, another big face. You call it a statue, yeah, statues. Some of them are actually like a model of an actual human being.
Yes.
Yeah, something like that. So they were all over the place with blood dripping.
Blood dripping down.
Yeah, blood dripping on all of them, you see. So I had to go and kneel down in front of, in that room. I knelt down there with the old man in front, standing next to me and the other boy translating. So here they were now coming to present me to the God. And for me to now come and denounce God and now surrender fully to this God.
Okay.
Do you understand?
I understand.
So I knelt down there, then they gave me the words to say. I remember very well, these words, they told me these are actually my tongues. Even if I go to church and I want to pray for people in church, I'll be saying the same words that they gave me. So the words were like, Atovi agburagbaja, atovi agburagbaja, akukuku, akakaka, akukuku, akakaka, akukuku. Then I take gin, you know gin?
Yes.
Gin, I take gin, drink it, then I spit it onto a horn that they gave me. But now, in this particular part, I'm still talking about when I was in front of the God, initiation. So they gave me those words, and then I spoke those words, spoke those words, spoke those words, spoke those words. I could feel the possession. I could feel the aggression that was coming upon me. I could feel something dying within me as we were there. I could feel even the conscience going away. You see, I could feel at that point that there was sort of like a shift.
Yeah, like an unfamiliar.
Yeah, like something is leaving me, and I'm turning into something that I don't know. So as I'm there, we're talking, then we finished. And then as soon as we finished, he said, now you can sleep. We'll finish everything tomorrow. As we're sleeping, we went to sleep in a room where there were also those different, So we went to sleep inside there, me together with the friend I was with. We were to sleep inside there the whole night. This is when you begin to question and ask yourself, was this worth it to come here? Because now you are in a room where you don't know, am I going to make it alive tomorrow, or I'm going to die tonight? You don't know what's going to happen, you see. But we made it through the night. Then the following day, I was given a horn. There are people with a hatchback.
Yes.
There are people with a hatchback here. that big lump at their back. Yes. Most of those people in West Africa, they are killed for rituals. So I was given that, there's a horn that they gave to me. This horn was probably this size. And the head was very fresh. And part of the meat that was there was hatchback meat, like human meat, that was also used to form part of the head of that horn. And now this was the god that I was to carry with me back to Zimbabwe. Yes.
Oh!
Yeah. This was the god that I was to carry with me back to Zimbabwe. I was very scared.
Yeah.
I was very scared because I was now thinking at the airport.
I do have human flesh on you.
Because remember, in West Africa,
Yeah.
there's actually a department under the police which deals with people who are in cults.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
You can be arrested. Yeah,
Yes.
you can be arrested for witchcraft in West Africa. And here I am with a horn. I put the horn inside the bag. They told me how to use it. I have to put blood all the time. Whenever I'm about to go to church, I must smear blood on the horn.
What blood? Chicken blood?
Chicken blood.
Whatever blood.
Yeah, because it was the first time.
Okay.
Yeah, it was the first time. I was not to take the depth of the things. I didn't want to jump to human sacrifice.
Yeah.
I had to start off from somewhere, you see. So we did I took the horn, flew from Ghana into, I think it was Kenya. From Kenya, arrived in Zimbabwe. My bag was never opened. My bag was never searched. Nobody touched my bag. Nobody opened my bag.
You went through
I went through the system. They saw nothing in the bag. I just passed up until I arrived back in Zimbabwe.
And then, when you get home, things are very different.
When I get home, I arrived at the airport. Close to 100 people were waiting for me at the airport.
Listen, that's the amount of people in the congregation.
Yeah. These are the people in the church because I told them that I'm going away for prayer. I told them I'm going away for prayer, and when I come back, I'm going to be too powerful.
Hey.
Yes. When I come back, I'm going to be too powerful. So you must make sure that you come and meet me at the airport so that I start giving you what I brought
Hey.
from where I went.
And they could feel it.
Nobody knew what it was,
But they could feel.
but the only thing I told them was that I went to pray. I went to pray with some certain spiritual fathers in West Africa. We were busy praying. Upon arrival at the airport, things happened at the airport. There were people who were waiting for me at the airport. As I was just touching them, they were falling down at the airport. I caused a sin, big sin. It was in the papers. No, it's not a scam. It's not a scam. There are those who are scamming people, and there are those who've been scamming people. This is not a scam. This is not a scam. And I'm not saying this to actually try and say, after this, if you want to join, come and see me. No.
Oh, but there are people who've been asking you, though.
A lot of people have come to me asking me, yeah, please take me also. Where did you go? I want to join. I can't do that. I'm no longer part of those things anymore.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. And upon coming back, what are the changes you noticed? The church gets full.
Upon coming back, we did an event. It was pegged inside out.
Church.
Yeah, church. It was pegged. I didn't know where those people were coming from.
Okay, and then is this the time that you decide that you're going to move to East London?
So, fast forward everything. I'm in Zimbabwe. The church is growing. But as the church is growing, I don't have the wisdom to carry what I have. I made a mistake. One of my PAs at the time, he took my car to the car wash and he saw the horn. This horn was never supposed to be seen by anybody. It was never supposed to be seen by anybody. He's still alive, yeah.
Okay.
So he saw the horn in the car, and then he just called me and said, I've dropped the car here, the car key is there. That was the last time I ever saw the guy, you see. Then from there, I could see that there's a lot of rumors going around. Jay Israel's doing this, what.
It's always the
No,
PAs,
Do you
eh?
understand? There's always someone very close. So after some time, that was when I then decided I'm going to move to South Africa. Yeah. Then I moved to South Africa 2015. I led a church in East London. We had a church of maybe plus minus 4,000 people. The pictures are everywhere online, everything.
Yeah.
There's no car that I didn't drive. There's no car that I did not drive. There's no money I didn't touch. Yeah, there's no slave queen I didn't sleep with. Yeah.
And were they at the front? In the front?
There's no type of drug that I didn't take. I took cocaine, I took everything, and I'll still go and preach because the power was not in what people will be thinking, this is where the power is. No, the power was somewhere else. I'll take cocaine and go and stand in front of the people in church and I'll mess them up. Yeah, I'll mess them up. I'll still tell them, this is your name, you come here, you're coming from this place, this and this and this and this. Yeah. This is how you operate. I'll still say all those things under the influence of drugs, under the influence of cocaine,
and they would tithe. They wouldn't play.
You see, I'll tell you, this is an advice I'm going to give.
Yeah.
People are naturally selfish. And because of the selfishness of people, it is the reason why most of these false prophets are making it. Because when you go to them, you are not going to them because you are going to look for the God they serve. You are going there for your own personal reasons. Many people get scammed by these people. They are actually going there to get their problems solved. So in the process, because they are being selfish, one thing about God, you don't worship God because you want to get something from him. You worship God because he is God. But when people come to church, when people go to church, they go to church because they want something. And they're going to sell it to you.
I can't have a child. Yes. My finances are bad. I can't get a job.
They are going to sell it to you. They'll tell you, for you to have a child, give us 10,000 rands. But how do you buy the blessings of God that were given to you before you were even born? You see.
And then at this point, there's something that you haven't mentioned to me, which I also watched on your channel. And like I'm saying, guys, you really, really need to go and subscribe to Jay Israel's channel. Like, it will really, really enlighten and open you up to a different world. But there is somebody you married. So besides the horn, some people know it as Injuzi, Mami Water, mermaid, female marine spirits, however you would put it. But there's this whole thing that happens where it's like a marriage to this woman, We won't go into how that came about. I think people can go and follow that on your channel. But then after this happens, what are the repercussions? Because I'm sure people were asking you, like, why are you not getting married, Where are the children? Girls want you to commit to them. How did that change, that kind of, your situation intimately and with women?
I don't know.
Okay. So let me pick it up. So let me pick it up. Yeah. I was going to pick it up with you and say, firstly, you're not allowed to commit, right? Because you're married to her, and she knows everything and she sees everything. Yeah. But then you also get these nighttime visits, right? Where you don't want to sleep because somebody might visit you. And we were saying off camera, I was like, why wouldn't you want somebody to visit you, And you were saying it became very daunting and very tiring. So which parts of her now being in your life became, very tiring in terms of your lifestyle? What couldn't you do? What could you do? Was that the point when you're just like, I can't do this anymore?
I don't know which part you came across, and I don't know which part you saw.
Okay,
but
so I saw the towels. Okay. The towels. Okay. I saw the miscarriages, babies. I saw how, she would get happy, if she knew you were kind of like with someone and somebody lost the child, and because that in itself became like a sacrifice to her. But in essence, like, how did it change your lifestyle? Could you clearly couldn't have a girlfriend because...
I think I'll take it as, I'll say, okay, let me, for the sake of maybe someone who's following this podcast,
Yes.
and they're probably meeting me for the very first time,
Yes.
and they don't know my story, they don't know what has happened. I think your questioning is because you have followed the story.
Yeah, maybe I'm too inside.
So you are too inside. So because you are too inside, you are not allowing the audience to have the gist of the...
Okay. So let's start from when you were that side, right, at the village.
Okay.
This old man introduces you to a lady. Let's take it from there.
Okay, so these sacrifices, they differ, and they always come with always wanting to upgrade. You understand? So it started from the chicken sacrifices to goat sacrifices, and then from goat sacrifices, it was going to go to human sacrifices. So now, it was going to go in stages up until it gets to a certain point where people will start dying, you understand? But when I met this woman, there's something that the old man did first when we got to the river, before the woman came out. There's something that he did to my eyes. And then he said, now I can open my eyes and see. So when I opened my eyes to look, I'd love to believe that it's me and the old man who could see what was happening at the time. I saw this beautiful woman walking towards me. I'm filled with fear because I don't understand what's going on. But in as much as I understand what's going on, I don't understand what's going on. I'm afraid, I'm not afraid. And then the old man is holding my hand. The woman is approaching. So when she got closer, I closed my eyes, and then she kissed me on my forehead. And then afterwards, we spoke what we spoke, said the words that we said, and then after that, she disappeared. That was the first time I was actually seeing her like that in person. I believe that if there were other people who were there as well, they might not have been able to see what I saw because of what was done to my eyes first before I had to see it. Because when it comes to these things of rituals, mostly it's you who sees it.
Yeah.
Nobody else will see.
Yeah.
Do you understand? So from there, there's a lot that happened in my life. There's a lot that changed. I almost got married, I think, twice or 3 times.
Wait,
Yes.
J. Israel's a heartbreaker.
Yeah, I almost got married twice or 3 times. You can
Yes.
look it up. You can look up my first engagement. I think it was in 2015. Yeah, it was. I think the first engagement was around 2015. Yeah, I got engaged. I proposed. I bought a ring. I think that ring was about 100 and something thousand rands, and I proposed on my birthday. Yes. That engagement only lasted for a couple of months, probably 2 or 3 months, and then I called it off. The second time again it happened, I almost got married. I introduced someone to the church, and then I realized, let me pull out again. You see. So I was not supposed to commit. I was not supposed to get married because already I was married in the spirit. A mermaid is a very jealous kind of being.
I think I'm a mermaid.
That will never allow you to commit to somebody else.
Yeah.
So you realize that with me doing what I was doing, I was putting the lives of the women that I was intending to marry at risk. So mostly that is why I ended up deciding to say, I'm not going to get married, but I'm just going to sleep with whoever that I want to sleep with. That is why I said the other day, when it comes to body count, I might have slept with maybe more than 1,000 women. I've lost the count. Yeah.
And this was all giving back
And
to
this was
whoever-
all,
Yeah.
and mostly all the women that I've slept with. Maybe some of them will watch this. there's normally one normal routine that I've always done with most of them. I've always kept a white towel. And after the intercourse, I always use the white towel to wipe their private part. And then I always keep the towel. I've done this to most of them, you see, and it was part of the ritual. So after some time, I gather my towels, and then I take them to the river, or I take them to the sea. Then I throw them into the sea as a sacrifice, giving back to the mermaid.
Okay.
Each time at night, I'll be sleeping. At times, I think I've had maybe a couple of miscarriages as well with a couple of women. And I'd love to believe that those unborn babies were also given as sacrifice to the mermaid as well. Not that I would love to believe, but that's what happened.
Yeah.
You see. And then, apart from that, there's been a lot. I was not supposed to commit, get married, or do anything. So it's been a whole lot of different things happening. Yeah. I think this whole thing really affected me personally. It affected me personally because I ended up losing interest in anything that has to do with commitment.
I'm telling you.
Yeah. Because you now realize that what is the need for you to commit if you can easily get it? What's the point of commitment? Someone will say that maybe commitment, you must get married so that a woman can cook for you, I can get a maid to cook for me.
There's always an alternative now.
There's always an
alternative now.
You understand? So you can have a baby. I can pay a woman to have a child. So what's the point of commitment?
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
That's how this whole thing ended up messing up my mindset.
Your mindset.
When it comes to the whole issue of marriage and everything, relationships and all that. I struggle a lot
Even
right
now.
Yeah, it's still a struggle that I'm still struggling with. Yeah.
Was
Get easily bored. Yeah. If I see you now, I don't want to see you again.
Of course.
Yeah, maybe let me see you after a week. Yes. If I sleep with someone, I don't want to see that person again.
You're worrying me because I've heard so many stories like that. I'm just
At
wondering.
times, there's women that I would sleep with, and then they wake up in the morning, they don't see me on the bed. As soon as I sleep with them, I leave. Then they wake up in the morning,
It's
cold, there's nobody else. There's nobody there. I'm gone. Why should I stay? Because I got what I wanted. The whole thing of us meeting was for us to have sex.
I'm done.
So why should I stay? Because the sex is done.
Are you telling me there's no woman you fell in love with?
I did. I fell in love. I fell in love a couple of times.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I fell in love a couple of times. Yeah, I did. I fell in love, but I had to fall out of love. Because if I really loved those women, there was no way I was going to proceed, because of the repercussions that were going to follow. So I had to protect them enough not to bring them into my space and fall in love with them from afar. I have fallen in love. Yeah.
So loving them was basically to stay away from them.
Yeah.
And at what point did you decide, you know what, I want out now?
I'm turning 30 this year. Yes, I'm turning
After
30.
you've traveled so much in the world. This man has lived.
I have lived.
And you need to also stop saying, I'm not going to be with you guys. Like, my mother hates that, by the way.
Why are you
And like I
afraid
said,
of death?
she's such a staunch, follower of yours.
That's the problem I have with people who are afraid of death. You are going to die. Do you know why you are born? Do you know why you are born? You are born so that you can die. I'm telling you. Whatever that happens in between life and death is your choice. You can decide to kill yourself after some time. It's still your choice. You understand? So
we are living to die.
Yeah, just
Tupac
living
once
to
said,
die.
we are living to die.
So why should you be afraid? Don't be afraid of death. It will happen. It can happen now. It can happen tomorrow. It can happen next week.
No, God.
That is why many people will say, I was with him now. If that was the case, that anyone you are with now must not die, then everyone will be still alive.
It's true.
You see, we're
It's
all
true.
going to die.
It's true. What point did you decide now that you were going to leave? And did you know your brethren outside of were you able to recognize people who served this God
Yes.
outside? Sorry.
Yes.
Yeah. I meant to ask that.
I've called a couple of them out. I've called a couple of
I've
them
seen.
out. Yes, I
Yeah,
have. Yeah. They are there. I know them, you know. I might not know all of them, but
Yeah.
there are definitely signs that I look at some of them and I'm like, I know this ring from somewhere. You know, I know this chain from somewhere.
Wait.
See? Or I know this sign.
I
know
need
this
to
sign
speak
from
to you about
somewhere.
something off camera. I'm so worried. Like there's so many dots connecting right now, but we'll talk about it off camera. And then you decide to leave because now it's just too much, right?
I decided to leave because I realized that I was now a slave. And I got tired. Yeah. I got tired.
Were the sacrifices getting more hectic?
They were getting more hectic, and they had already started taking people.
From you.
Yeah.
From you.
Yeah.
By force now.
By
You
force,
don't even, you can't even, okay. So that
There
is
was-
the turning
There was
point
a series of death
that you knew.
that I knew that this is not
Normal.
this is not normal. That's when I began to, that's when I began to feel that no, something needs to be done. You know. Yeah. That's when the fear factor started, dripping in, and that's when I started feeling like, I need to do something about this.
There's actually somebody very similar that I've heard about. But his will always be a mystery. The mystery of Uchinimbi.
Okay.
Genius Chinimbi, you know. People talk, you know. He was very young. And I wonder, you know, with his situation, I really wonder. Because I know that he was into a few things. I think he was into gas. I think I heard.
With
oil
Jinimbi, I
gas.
wouldn't want to say a lot of things because he was a brother. He was my friend. You know, he was a brother.
Do you sometimes think that people misinterpret a black man working hard for cults? Surely there should be black men and
Jinimbi
women
was
working
doing
hard.
business. I did business with Jinimbi.
Yeah,
He was
yeah.
a businessman.
Yeah.
That is a misconception that many people have heard about Jinimbi.
Love this
You
on
see?
the record,
Yeah,
yes.
I'm telling you about someone I know. I've been to his house. We've done business together. You understand? Yeah.
Okay.
So
Love that.
he is someone who loved to have fun. He loved I think he understood. He understood the assignment very well. His own assignment was just to come and have fun and go.
Yeah.
And he did it.
And he did that.
Yep.
Okay, so now you're out. Is there anything you had to do to get out?
Is there anything I had to
Are
do
you
to
scared
get
for
out?
your life? Everyone who watches Israel's things, guys, the first thing they ask is like, has this guy got like security? Like, is he okay? You know?
Am I scared?
Yeah. No, I mean, how did you get out? Let's
How
start
did I
there.
get out? It was a conviction from God. I believe God is the one who touched me. It was a conviction that I felt. I had to end my friendship/relationship with Alf Lukau from AMI. We were supposed to take a private jet and go to Congo together to preach. This was in 2020.
Wow.
Before lockdown.
That's so recent, though.
Yes,
Yeah.
before lockdown.
Yeah.
The jet was ready, everything was ready, and then he called me to say, let's go. The previous night, I had a dream where God visited me in that dream. And that's when I felt it is time for me to go out. Because before the dream, I was now feeling empty. There was this void in me that no woman was able to fill. Because each time I would feel that void, I would call people and would just chill and, you know, indoor party. That used to be my thing. Just call people, call different girls, you know. You see, the danger of that thing is that it drove me to a point of, I no longer enjoyed one woman. I no longer enjoyed two women. I no longer enjoyed three women. I no longer enjoyed four women. I no longer enjoyed five. I now enjoyed more than that. you see, because I kept on wanting more and more and more because I was empty inside, you see. I took cocaine until I felt like it's no longer giving me the high effect anymore, you see. That's how much I did. So the emptiness was so deep to a point where I became suicidal. I attempted to commit suicide twice and it failed until I had a dream. And in that dream, it was a visitation from God. I shared that dream online and I told people
Yes.
that I saw
remember.
God
Yes.
yesterday.
Yes.
And the God that I believe that I saw is not the God that many Christians think they know.
Yes.
I believe I saw God on that day. And he gave me another chance to go back and just remind people that there is a day that is coming. The Bible says, on that day there shall be what is called the gnashing of teeth. You shall stand as an individual to give an account of everything that you have done in this world.
Yeah.
God gave me that reminder. And he said, go and remind people that this life that I've given them, they are just ambassadors in that world. But there is a day that is coming where you are going to face the throne of grace and you'll be standing before him by yourself, with yourself. No one is going to stand there as J. Israel church member. Even myself, I'll stand naked before the Lord. You see.
This is a lot.
Even myself, I'm going to stand before him and he's going to ask me, what have you done?
What have you done?
So I don't want a scenario whereby one day I'm going to die and then I'm going to die with a guilt that is telling me that there's a certain message I was supposed to give. I just want to tell everybody who's watching right now, everything is vanity. Everything is vanity. Everything is vanity. We used to have Rick, now he's gone. Who knew he was going to die? Nobody knew.
Nobody.
You see. Menzi Ngubane is gone. Sifiso Ncwane is gone. I'm talking about big superstars. Michael Jackson is gone. These are people who could have simply bought life, but with all their money, they were not able to buy life, and now they're gone. There's one thing that Steve Jobs said before he died. He said, I've gathered all the doctors from all over the world. I've offered money to a lot of them, and I've realized the most important thing under the sun is not the cars, it's not the money, it's not the mansions, it's not the big houses, but the most important thing is life, because no one can sell you that. Only God can give you and only God can take it away.
And he passed.
Yeah, and he passed away with all his money. He passed away. So everything is vanity. My understanding of life has changed. I used to idolize cars. I used to idolize houses. I used to idolize money until I realized that all this is vanity. Because at the end of the day, we are still going to die. The only mark that I want to leave, I want people to remember me, not for the life I lived, but for the truth I said. That's all.
Wow. Ooh, this is a lot. And, you know, for everyone watching, in closing, I think everyone likes a happy ending.
Yeah. I want to say this before we close.
Absolutely.
I believe it's very important.
Yes.
I know that your podcast is mixed. You've got a mixed crowd. I want to talk to slay queens, scammers, and fraudsters.
Yes.
That is the generation we have right now. We no longer have the generation of hard workers who flaunt their cars and their houses because of hard work. But now we have a generation of young girls who are now using their private parts as a money-making business, as a money-making scheme. The part that God gave to them to serve as a reproductive organ, it is now a business, a business tool. It is a generation of scammers, fraudsters, and slay queens. Our generation is doomed. These are the role models that we have in our time. What are they teaching our people, our kids, other than flaunting bums and breasts online? So all the kids are going to grow up thinking the only way to make it in this life is to post your bums and your breasts on the internet. I hope one day we are going to get back to our roots and understand that the breasts and the bums of a woman are a treasure that can never be bought.
Yeah. I never ever expected that this conversation
There is
would
an
be so
industry
deep.
that people are not aware of.
Yeah.
There is an industry in Santin that many people are not aware of.
Yes.
Many people don't know about that industry. There is a new level of prostitution that has now been introduced in Johannesburg. Not only in Johannesburg, but even in Cape Town, even in Durban, everywhere, all over the country. They call it hookup. Hookup is the new term for the 2022 kind of prostitution. That is why we have all these problems in our time of women who are no longer feeling like men really need them. We have got all these issues of GBV that are going across the world, hitting South Africa like a storm. We've got all these problems. Before we look at all those problems and everything, let us just look at the prostitution that is now happening in the name of hookup. There's no more relationships. Now if you sleep with a girl today, you are now in a relationship tomorrow. And that relationship, before you know it, it is all over the internet, they are fighting and the relationship is over. These are the role models that we have in our time. What is the next generation going to be like if we have a disaster of a generation like this, where we are taking relationship advice from prostitutes who are dating fraudsters?
Yeah. In closing,
Yeah.
what's next for you? I mean, you have YouTube that's absolutely blowing up.
Yeah.
We're in the digital revolution. I'm not saying we don't, need the church, but the church has come to the internet now.
Yeah.
What's next for J Israel?
What's next for J Israel is, I'm currently on a journey of discovering me, because I would love to believe that that journey of self-discovery is very important for every human being.
Absolutely.
I don't want to spend the rest of my life chasing the wind, only to realize that I was building on something that does not exist. I'm on a journey of questioning Christianity. I have so many questions about Christianity. I have so many questions about the religion itself. Before Christianity was presented to the black African child by the white man, what was our way of communication with God before the white man came? Before colonialism, how were we worshiping God as black people? I'm on a journey of discovering a lot of things. And I'd love to believe that we have been taught lies for the longest time. And it is time for the black child to regain his power. And our power is our identity, which was sold in the name of religion. Yeah.
Whew. So where can people find you? Where can people find you?
Before I say where people are going to find me, I want to clarify that.
Yes.
I'm not saying God does not exist. God exists. He's the supreme God. But the religion called Christianity has brought a lot of problems to Africa.
My boy, Africa.
We have false prophets, we have fake pastors, a lot of
Yebo.
things happening under
Yebo.
the banner of a religion.
Yeah, bro. Problems.
You see,
Absolutely. I
So-
couldn't agree more.
people can find me on YouTube. I'm
Yeah.
J Israel Official. On Instagram, I'm J Israel Senior. On Facebook, I'm J Israel Senior. On Twitter, I'm J Israel Senior. On TikTok, I'm J Israel Senior.
Yes, shout out. And of course, guys, we have it at the bottom. So all you need to do is follow J Israel Senior. Thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
This was one of my, it probably is, because my team was like looking at me like I've been looking forward to this, because I know you're going to change lives one click at a time.
Yeah.
And I know this was an exclusive because you don't really do this stuff.
The first,
Yeah, and we're somewhere in South Africa. Shout out to the amazing tech team that we have. Lots of laughs, and I think we've made history with this one. I hope God continues to bless you. I hope you become the first of your kind when it comes to, you know, the African child and, you know, our journey when it comes to understanding Uveli Ngani. That's the God I know.
True.
Uveli Ngani. And of course, you know, where we are from, I really, really would like to thank you because I never thought this interview was going to happen. I was reaching very, very far. And believe it or not, I'd contacted a few people, including the person you called earlier, to try and track you down because I was like, this is something very risky.
Okay.
But yes, guys, I managed to touch Jay Israel. And a huge shout out to everybody, my POV peeps for joining us. And I'm just super, super grateful to everyone who's tuned in. And you know how we talk spirituality as young people. Yeah. And I think this was really, really, really important because half of us don't know whether we're coming or going. So follow him, follow me. It's your girl, Inkosazana Sekasu Gigi Lemaine. Don't forget to follow us at POVXGG. And of course, guys, the subscribers are going up, and we're super excited because we bring to you the taste makers of Africa, people who are doing amazing things and people who you'd like to get to know. And of course, POVXGG, the POV gang, we're everything trying to understand and not to judge. And of course, it is always you setting your record straight. Signing out.
That's my point of view.